month of September 2022. For this month's Empowered Moments video, we're going to be using the Sirian Starseed Tarot by Patricia Corey and Alyssa Bartha for the main message for everyone, for the collective. And our special message card this month, depending on your stone of choice, is going to be coming from the Yin Yang Oracle deck by Stellara. So brand new month and a brand new energy. We have a new numerological vibration for the month. And one of the things astrologically happening in the background with all of the other astrology transits that we're going to talk about in a little bit here is Saturn squaring Uranus. Now, if you can remember back to 2022, Saturn, which rules the third dimensional paradigm, the old karmic lessons, had been challenging throughout 2021. Uranus, which is the great awakener, about the future, moving forward, the fifth dimensional paradigm, if you will. Well, these two planets are coming back very close together for September and October. Now, they don't come all the way back into an exact square like they did 3 times in 2021, but they're within a degree, less than a degree at some moments here for September and October. And because they're coming so close together, it's going to bring up I'm going to call them opportunities for leaving the past behind and moving forward into the future and bringing change or liberation or freedom energies from the old. So this is what we're going to start our Empowered Moments video with. We're going to do a little bit of a meditation, as I have been doing here in these new Empowered Moments monthly and weekly videos. So let's close our eyes. Let's take a couple of deep breaths, relax our body, clear our mind of all thoughts, of all energies, and just focusing on the present moment, the here and now, listening to the sound of my voice, if that helps, visualizing, sensing, seeing, or just knowing that you're surrounded in golden white light, the golden white light of God's source energy, universe, all that is, the golden white light of protection and guidance and healing. And let's take in a deep breath of that golden white light, breathing it into every cell of our bodies. And as we exhale, letting go of all that your body, mind, and soul no longer needs. And in this month of September, we're going to be focused on, with our intention right now, the idea of clearing, releasing, and letting go of what no longer serves us in our consciousness and even in our everyday beingness. So if there are situations and circumstances that have outlived their purpose, we can gently call in the energy of change and redirection to revise that energy, revise our path forward. If there's perceptions or belief systems, emotions or feelings in our consciousness and energy field that is weighing us down, we ask that Archangel Michael come in and pull those cords to all of those lower vibrational energies, putting them on the fire of transmutation, allowing them to be cleared from our body, mind, and energy field and transmuted to a higher vibration of light, allowing us to move forward into a higher energy, a new paradigm of energy, bringing in change and redirection that's positive and leaving the past and all of its karmic energies behind us. Let's take in a deep breath and breathe in that intention if you wish. Exhale and let go. Surrender to what unfolds in this month. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back to this present time, this moment, this empowered moment. And let's go ahead and start by taking a look at our stones of choice. Okay, so I just got some new stones here just for this video. And the first one here is green moonstone. Now, I don't know with this lighting in here today, but it's like a mint green, okay? A very light mint green colored, and it's moonstone. Oh, this side looks better. Mint green moonstone. It calms the emotions and eases emotional instability. It helps to relieve stress and balances oversensitivity. It helps with the connection to the divine feminine, and it brings in awareness of subconscious or subconscious patterns. It brings in awareness of emotions and feelings and our intuition and intuitive guidance. Okay, so stone number 2 here is sardonyx. Isn't that gorgeous? Now sardonyx, this is an ancient stone of strength and protection. It helps with courage and happiness and clear communication. It brings happiness and stability to partnerships especially. It helps with good fortune, increased energy, and creativity. Okay, and the last stone of choice here is white dendrite agate. I'm going to show you the back too. It's got a couple of little inclusions there. We'll show you this side. White dendrite agate. This is a stone for a peaceful environment. It helps with enjoyment of the present moment, deepens our connection to Earth Mother Gaia, helps with stability in confusion or stability in confusing times, and it helps with perseverance through challenges. So again, your stones of choice: the green moonstone, the sardonyx, and the white dendrite agate. So let's put those stones aside here. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the monthly vibration for September. Now, September is the 9th month of the year. I think we can agree on that. And we need to look at the universal year energy for 2022 to find out what the energy of September is. So as we've talked about through every month, 2022 equals a 6 energy when we add those numbers together. There's a lot of 2s there, right? So all the 2s are talking about equality and balance and harmony and relationship and partnership and this idea of justice. The 6 vibration is like the number 2, a very feminine number. And the 6 deals with our home and family environment. And it deals with our emotions and our feelings, our inner emotional beingness, and the ability to do some self-healing, being on a healing journey, so to speak, throughout this year. When we add the 9th month of September to the number 6, of course, we get the number 15. Now in numerology, we look at master numbers and karmic numbers. The 15 is neither of those. So we're going to reduce it down by adding the 1 and the 5. And of course, we have a 6, right? So we have a 6 month, a 6 universal month vibration and a 6 universal year vibration. So it really intensifies the idea of emotions, feelings, caring, caretaking, listening, counseling, because all of those are the number 6, and home and family, which can include land and property. So for those of you out there that have been trying to sell land or property, or you're buying land or property, this is a month that really kind of brings in magnification to that whole idea. Now again, home and family is probably the biggest thing we're looking at here. So don't be surprised if home and family matters take precedence, take a front seat here, and that there's things going on in interactions with different family members or within the family unit itself. It could be a little emotional because of that number 6 being connected to the emotions, okay? The number 6 also is about memories from the past, and so we might Like say we have a family gathering, or there's an event that happens in the family. Maybe there's a birth, maybe there's a wedding, maybe there's a transition going on. And so the family comes together in reminiscing memories of the past regarding home and family. So all of that is possibilities. I also think about the number 6 as being like therapy, like going to a counselor or a therapist, someone who will listen, someone who we can talk about our feelings and emotions with. So that's also a possibility during this month of September. Now, let's talk about, even though the number 15 is not a karmic number or a master number, let's look at the 15th Major Arcana in the tarot. What is it? The 15th Major Arcana, as some of you know, is in the traditional tarot called the Devil card. Now, that's not to be a fear energy. It's not to be an entity that's known as the devil. This is just talking about the shadow, right? Our shadow, our fears, our anxieties, our doubts, our insecurities. And in fact, in the Sirian Starseed Tarot, it is called the shadow. So here's Major Arcana 15, the shadow. We've got a shadow of 2 people here, either in front of or behind a spider web, if you will. A lot of shadowy kind of darkness around them. And so when we deal with the shadow of the ego, right, because this is what the Devil card is about, we're dealing with our own insecurities and fears and the illusions that our ego creates that causes anxieties and doubts within us. So this is about working through some of that energy this month. And I think that, you know, it's pertinent to bring up again Saturn squaring Uranus, because Saturn can be about karmic challenges, and Saturn can be about our fears of the past that are karmically related to early childhood, or even, and most often, past lifetimes. So this is about, again, the karmic clearing of the shadow, a healing of the shadow. Let's heal those doubts and insecurities and karmic wounds, and let's release those fears and let them go. A lot of them perhaps maybe are in relationship matters, since this particular card shows 2 shadow figures, 2 people. We are in Libra season, or we're going into, with the sun going into Libra this week. Mercury is already in Libra and is soon going to be going retrograde in Libra. So, you know, and at the end of this week, actually, we got Venus going into Libra. So there is a lot that is focusing on relationships and partnerships and interaction with them. And so what is the shadow going on within those partnerships? What fears are we dealing with? What inequalities or feelings of injustice might we be experiencing? And maybe one partner is experiencing one thing or feeling one way, and maybe the other partner doesn't connect to that, or the other partner is feeling and experiencing something else. It doesn't mean that one person's right and one person's incorrect. This is just our experience, right? Because it's, again, our ego state that's bringing up things of the past and those fears and anxieties that need to be healed and released. Now, the spider web, you know, I think about the spider as a totem, right? And I don't know if it's this deck or a different deck. I think it's actually the Animal Tarot deck that I have. But the Priestess card, which is Major Arcana 2, is the spider. So when I see this spider web, I think of the spider. And when I think of the spider, I think of the priestess. And of course, what is the priestess? It's the strength of the divine feminine. It's the intuitive guidance of our divine feminine within. It's the healing power of the divine feminine. Confidence and courage of the divine feminine. So use all of those priestess energies also to move through this shadow energy in the month of September, okay? So let's talk about the astrological transits of significance for this month. So we start out on the 2nd of September. Mercury is highlighted a lot this month. I think I said earlier something about this week. I meant this month, okay? So in this month of September, we start out with Mercury in Libra opposing Jupiter in Aries. So what does that mean? Mercury rules our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions, our communications, our mental processes. It's in Libra right now. So again, it's bringing up communication with the other, whether the other is a romantic partner, a family member, parent, child, coworker, boss. You know, it can be any other person in our lives, to where we need to have this equal, balanced interaction going on. So Mercury in Libra opposing Jupiter in Aries. So when we have two planets opposing one another, they need to find a balance, right? Think about two children on a teeter-totter, or think about someone walking a tightrope, right? And there's like one person on one end and one person on the other end, perhaps. We're talking about a need to balance those two planets' energies. So we're balancing communication in a harmonious and balanced way with the Jupiter energy, which wants to expand into the big picture of what's really going on, seeing the big perspective of what's really happening and why. So again, let's talk about it in terms of partnership. If there's something going on in a relationship challenge, we need the clear, open, honest communication, the balanced communication, needing to give both partners the ability to speak their truth, because that's Mercury in Libra, or that's Libra energies in general. And then the other part of that with Jupiter is to look at it from a spiritual perspective. What's going on? What's the challenge all about? What does it go back to? What core wounds does it bring up in either or both partners, which is probably different wounds? And how can we expand into that big spiritual perspective and picture of having a higher understanding, a higher spiritual understanding of why this interaction might be taking place? Now, the other thing this can be is that Mercury, sorry, I'm sorry about that. I don't know, I should have had my glass of water next to me. Mercury in Libra opposing Jupiter in Aries is also about networking. It's also about expanding our presence, expanding our ideas, expanding communication, with networking out in the world being recognized and appreciated in a bigger and brighter way. Okay, so I feel like that's also going on. And we have to remember that Mercury, well, I'll skip ahead to the 9th of September, Mercury is going to be going retrograde in Libra at 8 degrees. Now, that means that it's going to connect with this opposition to Jupiter 3 times because of this retrograde motion. That's why I included in this monthly video, because I think this is important. Now, Mercury retrograde, connecting with Jupiter again on the 18th of September, because Mercury will then be retrograde. Jupiter's already retrograde, but it moves much slower. So it's giving us this opportunity, and Jupiter is all about opportunities and blessings, by the way. It's giving us this opportunity that if there's something within a relationship that needs to be worked out, that we have 3 different times where it's the strongest here with Mercury opposing Jupiter for us to be able to communicate, bring it up, talk about it, iron things out with the other person. Also in regards to, say, networking and business and recognition and appreciation from, you know, people outside of us, job, career, life path, giving us 3 opportunities to expand our presence through speaking, teaching, writing, sharing information, because Mercury in Libra likes to share information in some way, shape, or form. So there's 2 different things, but both of those can be very positive. Now let's back up for a minute to September 4th. September 4th, we have Venus, the planet of love and relationships, money and finance, values, and our sense of self-worth, moving into Virgo until September 29th. So she's going to make another transition here at the end of the month. But Venus is moving out of sunshiny Leo, expressive Leo, creative Leo, and moving into practical, grounded, analytical, logical, let's make a plan and have a strategy, Virgo. Now this is have a strategy and a plan in financial matters or money matters. Let's analyze or be logical about what's going on in our relationships. Let's look at, with our sense of self-worthiness, where we're beating up on ourselves, criticizing ourselves, and judging ourselves, and let's shift that to not to be such a perfectionistic energy, but to be more of a healing, loving energy, because Virgo is the healer and Virgo is the alchemist, and so we can transform that lower energy into something more positive, where we're focused on self-healing, right? We're looking at the details of what needs to be healed within ourselves for our own sense of self-worth to be shifted into a more positive place, okay? All right, on the 10th of September, we have a full moon at 17 degrees of Pisces. This means the sun is at 17 degrees of Virgo, the moon is at 17 degrees of Pisces. Now, full moons are about endings, releasing, letting go, and a completion, right? After the moon is full, it comes to its full magnitude. So when the moon is growing, it's expanding and fulfilling or bringing something to a head, basically. Once the moon is full and it starts waning, and if you want to say lessening, right, it starts to move through its cycle of waning, this is where we're releasing and letting go and completing something here. Now, this full moon is in a connection to Uranus, Neptune, and an odd connection that we don't normally talk about to Saturn. Now, the sextile to Uranus gives us an opportunity for awakening something within ourselves that needs to be awakened. The connection to Neptune brings in higher psychic sensitivity and higher emotional sensitivity too, because it is the moon. Pay attention to your dreams as well during this full moon time. Now, that connection to Saturn, it's called a semi-sextile. Full moon is at 17 degrees of Pisces. Saturn is about 18 degrees of Aquarius, which is one sign before. Now, that's not a major aspect, but it's Saturn, a semi-sextile. And we're in two signs that are next to one another that would be hard for them to merge their energies and get along. Saturn likes to karmically clear, right? It brings up limitations or restrictions or karmic lessons and allows us to be able to karmically clear something out or take responsibility for something and to restructure our lives. Here we're restructuring our emotional body because we're dealing with a full moon. Now, the other thing is that this full moon in Pisces, right? Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. So there's a huge clearing going on right now in the month of September, a huge purging going on. We're really tying up loose ends spiritually and karmically speaking, energetically speaking. And we're moving through this energy of releasing, letting go, surrendering, purging, tying up those loose ends. So this is a big deal, especially because Saturn and Uranus are so close together in that square aspect this month. So I think we're going to be going through a lot of emotional and energetic releasing overall. Okay, so the 18th, Mercury opposes Jupiter again. We already talked about that. The 22nd of September, the sun moves into Libra, which is its normal time of the year to move into Libra. For the next month, we're shining our light through that lens of Libra partnerships and equality and compromise and peace, basically. Also on the 22nd, the same day the sun moves into Libra, it connects with Mercury in Libra. I thought I would include that since Mercury is retrograde and opposing Jupiter so many times here. in the next little while. So I feel like that's highlighting, again, communication with partners, with other people, whoever that other person might be. Now, the very next day, on the 23rd, Mercury, as it's retrograde, moves back into Virgo. Okay, so it's going to be in Virgo until October. No, it's actually in Virgo for longer than October 2nd. It's retrograde in Virgo and goes direct in Virgo October 2nd. So it still has a few days there in October that it's moving through Virgo before coming back into Libra. Okay, now that retrograde back into Virgo on the 23rd, we're revisiting the logic, the discernment, the analyzing, the perfectionistic kind of nature, which is all about just trying to make something better, right? It's not a bad thing necessarily. Virgo can be very perfection oriented, and it comes out sometimes as feeling to another person as maybe a little self-critical or critical, you know, and it can be self-critical for as far as themselves. But it's like, how can I make this better? How can I look at the details, pick it apart, make it work different, and make things better in life, okay? Now, on the 25th of September, we have a new moon. That new moon is at 2 degrees of Libra. So now we're in this time of new beginnings and initiating a new energy in the sign of partnerships, balance, harmony, compromise, and peace. And that new moon at 2 degrees Libra on the 25th is opposing Jupiter. Again, Jupiter is the planet of blessings, abundance, prosperity. It's the great benefic. It expands and exaggerates energies. So again, let's expand into the larger picture, see things from a higher perspective, what's going on in the relationship and partnership that we need to pay attention to on a higher spiritual level. You know, how can we find wisdom in what's going on is what Jupiter wants us to do. Again, there could be some sort of blessings that maybe come in as well. But because Jupiter is in Aries, which is a sign of the self, the sun is in Libra, sign of partnerships, there might be this kind of tug of war, push and pull energy between self, what self wants, and others, or what the partner wants. Now, again, the partner could be a family member, a friend, a coworker, as well as what we think of as a soulmate or romantic partner. But there could be, again, this little bit of tug of war here. On the 26th, the sun is opposing Jupiter. So again, you know, this whole idea of relationships versus self. And then on the 29th of September, we have Venus moving into Libra. So leaving Virgo and moving into the sign of partnerships until October 23rd. Now, those are the highlights, but with all of that going on, this month of September, remember, we also have Mars in Gemini. I didn't mention any of the transits. We'll talk about that in the weekly Empowered Moments video. But Mars is moving forward or in direct motion the whole month of September and most of the month of October before turning retrograde in Gemini. So in this month of September, it's traversing the degrees of 6 degrees through 20 degrees. So if any Geminis out there, or the opposite sign of Sagittarius, or the two signs that square Gemini and Sagittarius, which would be Pisces and Virgo, if you are one of those signs and have any planets between 6 degrees and 20 degrees of Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, or Pisces, Mars in Gemini is going to be affecting you for the month in various ways. Remember, Mars in Gemini is putting energy and action into new ideas and new thoughts and communications and networking and learning and teaching and just all forms of speaking, teaching, writing, communication. We already talked about Saturn squaring Uranus for the month, again, about 1 degree apart. So it's like past versus future. You know, what do we want to do? Which way do we want to go? Do we want to hang on to the old karmic lessons? Do we want to free ourselves and liberate ourselves with that Uranus energy and let them go and move forward, change or redirect what we're doing, thinking, perceiving, how we're experiencing the world? The other interesting thing that I jotted down here for September is that there's a lot of retrograde planets, but most of them are the slower moving outer planets, and even the in between. We've got personal planets that move really fast. We've got outer generational planets that move really slow, and then we've got Jupiter and Saturn in between. So the retrograde planets, and I'll tell you in a minute what that means, but the retrograde planets in the month of September, for the whole month, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, Chiron, Saturn, Jupiter, and then of course Mercury turns retrograde in this month as well. Even 2 of the 4 major asteroids that astrologers use, Juno, the marriage partnership asteroid, and Vesta, the energy of focus and sexuality, are also retrograde. So all these retrograde planets, what does that mean? There's an internalization of all of these planets depending on what they mean. So of course, each planet means something different, right? If you want, you can look up what is Pluto all about, what is Neptune all about, etc. When they're retrograde, it internalizes the energy, and it's really bringing a huge amount of growth and evolution for the soul on an inner level. When the planets are moving forward in what we call a direct motion, it's more about external circumstances and outer world things. But when they're retrograde, we're kind of looking within. And again, with Pluto, for instance, we're looking within regarding our personal power. With Neptune, we're looking within to connect with our higher soul self, or our higher spiritual energies. Uranus retrograde, we're kind of looking internally more at this energy of liberation and freedom and change and awakening ourselves. It's the great awakener. You know, Saturn, karmic lessons. So we're looking deeply at what that's about and where we need to take responsibility. Jupiter, the wise one, planet of higher learning, blessings, expanded perceptions and perspectives. You know, we're finding the wise one within ourselves. Chiron, the wounded healer, we're doing a lot of, internal healing of our past life wounds. And of course, most of you know what Mercury retrograde brings, right? So now let's go ahead. I guess this is where we get to shift our perspective. And we're gonna look at the energy of the messages we got through the cards, the Sirian Starseed Tarot. So we've got 3 cards here. First card, wow, Major Arcana 20. In the Sirian Starseed Tarot, you can see this is called Karma. Now, Major Arcana 20, it's got an XX up there, but you might not be able to see it very well. Major Arcana 20 is the Judgment card in the traditional tarot. So what's the Judgment? The Judgment card is about a time of reckoning. It's usually depicted with like an angel blowing a trumpet, kind of calling the soul to attention. This is the second to the last Major Arcana. So we're getting towards this cycle of completion. Just like I said with the full moon in Pisces, it's a cycle of completion. Saturn square Uranus, we're dealing with some completion of old karmic energies. And this too, again, it's called Karma. Now, whenever I see this particular card from the Sirian Starseed Tarot, it always looks like water to me. And within the water, it looks like this heart, right? It almost looks like a heart. So we're dealing with a lot of old emotional wounds. We're dealing with some maybe relationship, heart chakra energies that are karmic in nature and that need to be looked at, understood. We need to be aware of in this Judgment card. It's a time of reckoning. It's a time to, it's kind of like reaping what you sow, basically. So, and do you want to carry forward in the same energy, or do you want to, again, clear it out, release it, let it go? The other thing I always feel like I see in this particular card is this interesting image right here that looks like, again, it's in the ocean or the water. And it always looks to me like when I see this, I always think of the phoenix. Okay, now maybe that's not what it's supposed to be, but looks like the phoenix to me in a way. Phoenix is rising through the emotions, rising through the waters of our feelings. We're healing these heart chakra wounds. We're dealing with all this emotional clearing and purging. And we're going to rise. The water phoenix is going to rise out of this watery realm and into the sky, right? So we're going to clear a lot of emotional feeling energy. And here's kind of like a lotus flower up in the sky, right? Lotus flower to me, it's related to the heart chakra again, and opening up to a higher sense of unconditional love and unconditional compassion and unconditional peace and unconditional forgiveness towards either ourselves and or other people. So, this card to me really indicates again that we might be going through some karmic things, maybe within ourselves, maybe within relationships, maybe within the home and family. It could be within money and finances. It could be within career and life path. So it could be in any aspect of our life, because each of us are different as a soul. We come in with different karmic lessons to move through, to understand, to clear, to heal, to balance. Okay? But it seems like it's something that we're having an emotionally moving time, emotionally maybe challenging time in moving through. Okay. All right, let's look at the next card. Okay, the next card is the Seeker of Chalices. This is like the Page of Water or the Page of Cups in the traditional tarot. So again, we're dealing with the emotions, with the feelings. Now, that's interesting because we have a lot of Libra energy going on, and we got some Virgo energy going on, neither of which is water, right? But that full moon is in Pisces. That is water, that full moon, that cycle of completion, that bringing our feelings and emotions and old karmic energies, because Pisces rules past lives, right? So it's bringing up all these old energies to the surface. And here she's got this interesting, she's got her back to the water. It's like she's flinging off the emotions, right? This is the front of her. I don't know how well you can see the image, but she's standing kind of with her head back like this, and she's flinging her arms back. And what's coming off is the water from her hands and into this ocean or river or lake or whatever it is she's standing in. She's standing in the water. She's like flicking off the old emotions and feelings that she no longer needs to carry. And as she tilts her head back and kind of projects her body forward, she's ready to move forward into something new here. Okay? We've got beautiful starry night all around her. So it's like calling to the heavens and calling in the ascended masters and archangels and those of the highest vibration of light for assistance and guidance and protection as we're flinging off and releasing and letting go what we no longer need. Now, again, the seeker, she's seeking something new, or she's seeking higher knowledge, or she's seeking higher wisdom, especially in regards to emotions, feelings, relationships, matters of the heart, because it's cups, it's water. So she's here on a soul journey of seeking information and guidance and knowingness and higher awareness as she's releasing and letting go. Now, the Page of Chalices, the pages are also known for messages. So, usually if you get a page in a reading, it's like information or messages or guidance coming. So again, it's about matters of the heart. It's something dealing with emotional relationships or feelings or healing and surrendering to this kind of healing soul journey that they're on. This could also be about communication, emotional communication with another person. Usually the page or the seeker is the youngest of the court cards, and so sometimes it's known as an immature energy. So it could indicate that we have some emotional interactions or conversations that are not quite grounded, not really grounded, balanced, and focused. So in other words, our emotions can get triggered. okay? Especially because we have a full moon in water sign Pisces, right? So emotions are triggered during a full moon, and especially if it's in a water sign, okay? Let's look at the last card here. The last card is another Major Arcana. It's Major Arcana 13. In this deck, it's called Transition. But in traditional tarot, it's known as the Death card. And it doesn't necessarily mean literal death, although transition and physical death is a possibility with people or pets or whatever. This could also be that we're more connected to those on the other side, our family members, loved ones that we've lost, ancestors, that, you know, this barrier, this portal between the living and those on the other side is opening, right? This portal is opening right here. So perhaps we're more easily connecting to our ancestors and family members that have passed over and transitioned. But mostly the death card is metaphoric. It's metaphoric about a death and rebirth, a transition, a renewal, okay? So we're letting something go, releasing, letting something go in order to birth something new, or in order to renew ourselves in a new way. Or we could be transitioning our energy in a situation. Again, there's a symbology here of, you know, leaving one thing behind and transitioning and moving through this portal of energy into something new, okay? So into a new situation, a new circumstance, a new job, a new career, a new relationship, or a new way in an existing relationship, a new project, a new way of feeling, a new way of experiencing your life, a new way of feeling and valuing yourself. All of these things could be indicated by this transition card here, okay? And it looks like a wonderful transition, right? There's a nice, big, bright, kind of sunny-looking portal of energy there that we're shifting into. Again, it can be energetic, emotional, or situational, and, you know, based in physical reality with some circumstance that we're in, okay? All right, so those are some heavy-duty cards for the month of September, right? We had the overall shadow or devil card that is the vibration for the month. We got the judgment card or the karma card. Of course, the page of chalices, page of cups, and then the transition or the death card. So those are some pretty heavy movement of energies going on. Let's go ahead and take a look at what your special message card is, depending on your stone of choice. Let's show them to you one more time. So we've got, and of course, now I'm drawing a blank here. We've got the green moonstone. This is my first green moonstone. I have moonstone, but never a green moonstone. So I thought that was really nice and relating to like heart chakra energy. So green moonstone, sardonyx, which I just love that with the orangey fiery color in it. And then the white dendrite agate. Just looks so pure, you know, like crown chakra, awareness and consciousness. Okay, so if you chose the green moonstone people, I'm going to shuffle the deck here. What message, what special message personally do we have for green moonstone people? This one keeps calling my attention. Okay. Woohoo! Epiphany and breakthrough. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So something's happening here. Now, I think it was the full moon. Yeah, the full moon that I said was connecting to Uranus. Uranus can really bring an epiphany and a breakthrough, an aha moment, something that you never thought of before, a flash of insight. So around that full moon, and maybe it's a different time of the month, but look for those epiphanies, the new insights, something that looks like can be celebrated here, right? It's like a breakthrough in soul healing, a breakthrough in your soul journey, your evolution and growth, a breakthrough in career, a breakthrough in finances, a breakthrough in a relationship, right? You're having like this oh my gosh, you know, I see it now, this epiphany of what's going on, what's happening. This person is sitting, it looks like by the ocean, and just really, again, they're celebrating. There's lots of birds in the air, so lots of messages. You probably are going to have more than one epiphany. I think there's more than one message coming in here. And it's like the sun is rising. It could be the sun setting, but first thought was the sun is rising to this new day, this new experience, this new way of feeling. Again, to me, this is something very, very good. There's huge healing that's taking place here, a huge breakthrough for all of you that chose that green moonstone. Let's put that back in the deck in case somebody else gets it. Let's look at sardonyx. Special message for sardonyx, people. Sardonyx. Okay, I gotta focus here. My mind's kind of going off in different directions. Sardonyx, special message. Oh, this one's obviously, it's sticking right up here. Deception and temptation. Okay, so Pisces energies with that Pisces full moon can sometimes be confusing, bring some sort of illusion, bring some sort of lack of clarity. It can be as heavy as deception, where someone's trying to deceive you, or maybe you're deceiving yourself. You're not seeing something clearly. You don't want to see it. Also, it says temptation. So you might be tempted to say something that maybe you shouldn't, or do something or take an action that maybe you should hold off on. And let me say this too, is with Mercury retrograde, you really should, if you can, hold off on making huge decisions. Because with Mercury retrograde, there's a lack of information. There's more information that's needed to happen. You have to wait until Mercury turns back to direct motion before the clarity settles in, before all the puzzle pieces are there, before the, you know, all the information is given to you. Now, sometimes you can't wait, and that's okay. But if you can, wait for that clarity to come. Wait to have that, that illusion kind of be lifted, and the clouds break in the sky so you can see or perceive clearly what's happening within yourself, or with relationships outside of you, or within a situation or circumstance, okay? So this is like, you know, coming out of that watery realm of the emotions and the feelings, right? We've been kind of feel like sucked down into the water here. The emotions, and that brings in confusion. And, you know, when we're overly emotional, we can't really have that clear awareness or see clearly what's happening. So this person's starting to emerge now, you know, emerge from the waters so that that clarity can come in better. Okay. All right, let's put that back in the deck. And then for those of you that chose the white dendrite agate. White dendrite agate. White dendrite agate. Special message. This one's calling my attention right here. Ooh, trust and divine time. That's another Pisces word there. Trust, trust. So Pisces is elusive, right? And it's about divine timing, and it's about surrender. So it's about having trust and faith in the universe, trust and faith that everything's unfolding exactly as it should, how it should, when it should. You can see the clock here, even in the middle of this lovely young woman. And surrounding the clock, we've got a couple of butterflies here. So butterflies to me symbolize new birth, but it's kind of, you know, it's not in the dark, but it's not in the bright light either. It's like this transition time, right? We've got this bluish, darker kind of energy and shadowy energy with the clock and the butterflies. To me, it's like, again, let that cycle of the full moon and the releasing and the completion and the endings, that timing, let that divine timing come about through the energies of this month of September. Saturn, actually, that Saturn-Uranus energy, Saturn rules third dimensional time as well. So just kind of have patience and wait for the divine timing. Trust and have faith that all will be revealed, and eventually these wonderful butterflies will give birth to something new, and you'll be able to spread your wings again and initiate this new cycle of energy that's coming. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to the monthly. Pay attention to the weekly. I think most of you do. Got a few announcements, but because this video is long, I'll make those announcements in the next weekly video. So sending you all lots of love and light and many, many blessings for the month of September. Namaste, everyone.